contact!
How deep can you plunge into the darkness?
Through the dark veil of space, time.
I wish we could have joined you sooner.
This is Warp Chatter.
Time is short. There is much to be done.
The wait ends now.
All right. Welcome once again to the Warp Chatter podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to talking about the Horus Heresy Legions digital card game, Horus Heresy lore, Warhammer 40,000, everything that encompasses. I am your host, Scuff D. This is a podcast by players for players. And with us, we've got a couple players here today that are going to be joining us. We've got my Crab co-host, Axel Manning.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
And we've got, joining us again is Dorn, Stache.
Hello, hello.
And IronDuke.
G'day, everyone.
Hello. All right, so we've got two players joining us today. Two players who are fairly seasoned with the Salamanders, who are advocates, if you were, for the teachings of Vulkan. So we're going to be talking, cult. The Promethean occult. Is it a Promethean cult or Promethean occult?
No, it's cult.
Okay,
yeah, it's cult. It's a religious group.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the Salamanders today. That's our faction focus. We made it here where we've only got a couple legions left before we get into the non-Astartes legions at some point down the way. But that's what we've got. So before we do that, though, really quick, I did want to say, because I know we got some stuff going on in the world. Try to just have the show as we normally would. But we've had guests and a lot of listeners. A good portion of our listeners are kind of in the areas that are seeing some stuff go on. And if you're listening to this still, I appreciate it, but I certainly just, if anything, just wish the safety and the best for those who are out there, wherever you are along the way. So I just throwing that out there. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah,
It's
do fine, people. Hope everyone's well.
Likewise.
It ain't looking pretty on that side, but it's also not looking as bad. Everything's a mess that way.
All right. So with that being said, let's do just some player introductions. Dorn, Stache, Duke, you guys have both been on the podcast before, but it's been a little bit. Let's tell us about yourself. We'll start with Dorn, Stache.
Who are you?
Some loser. Anyways, I don't know. Moderator for the Reddit and the Discord. Lodge Master of Lord Adornable, part of the Brotherhood family of lodges. Illustrator of Stupid Things.
And stupid. They're adorable.
I'm not a 30k fan. I feel like it comes up a lot. I got into Warhammer back in 3rd edition, played through just the beginning of 5th, and as happens, I think with most nerdy people, that's where my brain is set. That's my bias. It's what I like, and I don't like the thing that's not mine. So I'm not so much into all the changes that have happened over the course of the setting. So,
hey, that's fair. I can't blame you. A lot of it's just retcon for the sake of retcons. Luckily, my boys in a different shade of red than the several other boys in red have stayed remotely the same.
To be fair, when you make a joke about how many are in red, I will say, before the 3rd edition War for Armageddon Codex came out, initially, I had actually I was planning to make a Dark Angels army.
Oh?
So, and you could just joke about how many have green as well.
Just because of the green.
You're right.
I like the Caliban green. I like that dark green. It looks good.
Caliban green looks good, but it's weird when people go, the Dark Angel. Oh, do they wear black? No, they wear green.
Yeah.
They used to. Not anymore.
They used to wear black, but black is not their choice for some reason. And I like the fact in 30K that they kind of reversed that, like why that's the case. Like, I think that's interesting.
At least the Salamanders have always been the same
Salamanders
color.
have always been green. And that was actually...
Never other time have been a different color,
yeah,
right?
Never.
There are a few...
It's not easy being green.
Yeah, there are a few legions who slightly transformed or completely transformed their appearance from their legion colors in the Heresy to different colored patterns, but the Salamanders were not one of them.
No, but if we travel back far enough in time, maybe, just maybe, they were this weird actual salamander paint job.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
Neither do I. I need to go home.
That was just one
I'm
guy's
lost.
painting. That was just a paint scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
God, I wish we lived in a world with yellow and black salamanders.
I mean, dropping the facetiousness, no. I mean that was their official Rogue Trader paint scheme, as far as I know. Which I mean, I liked it.
It was interesting. I mean, it fits a name. They're called the Salamanders, but they're just green.
I take the green and gold. I like that. Well, it works. It works.
It's kind of dragony.
Yeah, they definitely look good.
Yeah.
It's just, when you compare it to their old version. Then again, word bearers, their old pre-heresy color changes from black to gray regularly, and, well, regularly, it did, and that was weird to me.
Mm.
I do like gunmetal gray, though.
Well, also with us is IronDuke.
Waiting for my cue. Yeah, no, that's all right. Where I similarly got into Warhammer with 40k way back at probably the end of second edition, maybe a year before it switched over to third.
The dawn of time.
Oh yes, back when we originally had armor save modifiers and just before AP reductions and stuff like that. But anyway,
Don't tell people that's not new. I mean, don't try to tell people that that's something.
They're probably really excited by that. I just saw recently. I went into a GW shop for the first time in ages when I got back to Australia, and like they're showing these, like, oh look, you can have armor reduction. Like, yeah, I know, man. Like, that's. I feel like I should be teaching you.
Right.
Don't quote those words at me. I was there when they were written.
Yes, don't quote the old magics to me. But yeah, I was originally Eldar player, and still technically because I haven't played anything else. But kind of getting into. If I had to start an army now, it would be I'd probably go for a Salamander Legion or something. But again, probably not Legion because I'd probably stick to 40k. But yeah, I've been really liking them when I discovered basically the Horus Heresy game, and I joined the Horus Heresy game just as they were launched. So that's it was my first, and I just love the theme of them. My lodge mates all agree that if I probably embody them very much because I hate seeing my troops die. So that's probably part of the big reason they appeal to me.
Oh.
But just been again, also, like, I think we have 3 moderators in here today. 3 moderators.
Well, so that gets into, this actually isn't about the Salamanders.
Yeah, no, this is actually an intervention.
I regret to inform you, this is actually a moderator intervention. Your abuse of deck slots is concerning.
It's tearing this family apart.
Listen. I just got Skravok, and I am now past capacity. I need more deck slots, guys.
Oh, no.
Think of the kids.
Think
of this family you're tearing apart.
I haven't bugged the Everguild community manager near as much as people think so, but I mean, I've sent him like once or twice, like, hey, just a reminder, it would be handy.
Excellent.
I like to keep that channel open for valid communications. Just keep that bug open in the air.
Is it you have to have a single deck slot for every warlord out there?
Yes, I gotta have it.
Okay.
And right now we don't have that, especially with Fafnir Rand.
Even Nimitor?
Yes, even Nimitor. I played him a couple times just to play him.
I've played him. Yeah, of course.
I'll take anybody in the Salamanders over Nimitor, but he can be played. I just don't like how he plays.
Poor guy.
And we can talk about Nimitor here in a little bit.
We will, and we've got some things to say there, but
all right,
we can
get into that.
Yeah. With the Salamanders, they are the legion that has got that introduced, I should say. They introduced the survivor trait. Actually, I mean, technically in testing, I think that first appeared on Cyrus, the Warlord. Death Guard Warlord had a Survivor 5. But as of Legion, they all got Survivor, and they also had Sacrifice, which worked a little differently than it does currently. It's been improved, where now if you kill your stuff on your turn, regardless of how it dies, which includes poison, the Sacrifice ability triggers. So that's their main thing. Longevity, troops that stay on board and typically do something when they die on your turn. And it's a fairly robust faction, but it hasn't always been that way. I think for the longest time, the faction, like when it first launched, was driven solely by Numian, whose ability and having the extra card and having a decent start to get a unit on board and give it survivor, typically Farron's militia. Still a smart play in some games.
Yeah, and the best part of talking about the best Salamander Warlord is the best card to run on him wasn't a Salamander.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because he loves his humans. He's like, listen, I'll protect you. I'll keep you alive.
I'll protect you, but you won't see any of my boys. No. It's like old Armin and Magnus.
I just always found there's a funny irony with the way the Salamanders are often represented to represent that they're very human-friendly, unlike some Astartes. They're often represented with humans in most 40k things. It's like, the thing you could do realistically that would most protect humans is have them nowhere near you as a chapter. Yeah. But of course, everyone wants to do that. I mean, and I'm guilty of that. I would get guardsman bits and have like humans on vehicles or like doing work on like rhinos and stuff with my salamanders.
Right,
because the best way to stay alive.
Yeah,
but we use flamethrowers. It's not a good place to be.
No. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you want to survive, don't be by the giant boys with flamethrowers.
I'm reading Born of Flame, and it's a collection of short stories. One of the anthologies that they've got in there is Promethean Sun, which is it's like a flashback, like pre-heresy, where Vulkan and Mortarion and Ferrus Manus are working to conquer this Eldar world. And the Salamanders are in like a jungle region, and they're with like a bunch of like guard regiments, and they're coming across old native humans who have been enslaved by Eldar, but they're just like burning things, and like it's like right alongside these humans who are being slaughtered, and it's like such close proximity. It's the perfect example of that, where it's just like, I mean, literally Vulcan's like, wait, before we send in the Salamanders, let's see what these Eldar can do against these humans. We want to keep them safe, but let's hold back for just a minute longer. So, I mean, so the humans are getting, they're just slaughtered, and even when the Salamanders arrive, they're getting slaughtered because they're being driven forward because it's the Crusade. Like, that's what you just keep going. The Salamanders are trying to preserve their lives. But
also, the key part people forget: Salamanders really love civilians. They don't like civilian casualties.
Yeah.
Soldiers will die.
Yeah, soldiers are going to die.
Just the course.
The civilians, when they finally rescue the Eldar civilians, like, it takes them a while to realize like they're not liberators. These guys actually were happy to live with the Eldar because the Eldar were not, they weren't enslaving them; they were keeping them safe from other things. It's just kind of an interesting turnabout, but. It was just kind of goes hand in hand because like it was a perfect example of a story where there's like, well, we got to have some humans in there to show the human aspect of the Salamanders. Like, do you every time?
We got to have the human aspect to let them die in droves
every time.
Yeah, it's almost a cliche this time. But that was a big tangent. But I'd just like to interject with the originally. He said the original warlord to go with Numion. No, originally it was Vulkan. Because I don't know if you remember.
Oh, you're talking about what?
Vulkan gave Survivor 6
event
on his
warlord
reckoning.
Vulkan, yes. Like when he debuted in the event, yes.
Well, not even on ladder. I mean, the Survivor 6, that was pretty tough to get through sometimes.
But he was nerfed within 7 days, so I didn't have him as a warlord until after that event. So, I mean, you if you got lucky and you got him out the gate, then yeah, I could see that. Because it wasn't just Survivor 6, it was Survivor 6 every time. Like, you got your reckoning back, and it was a guaranteed 6 more. It wasn't just like where it is now, where it's like, 3. It was like 5 the first time, 6 the next, 6 the next, 6 the next. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was a bit tough.
And
but Numion, he was the way to go, and that nerf really hit him, and I think that nerf shows one of the big weaknesses of Salamanders, at least back in those days, and possibly even now, is that they need card draw.
Mm-hmm.
You can't slow down your card draw to play your good troops.
Nowadays,
my Numion deck, which I was crushing with, and had very little card draw, just relied on his extra card in hand to get the momentum you build up for the rest of the game. But yeah, and you're right, nowadays they have some more options.
Not only do they have more options, but they have enough troop production where they don't really care about that anymore, and it's scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Deathfire look like.
But that extra card, they gave him, if he went second, that mulligan gave him 10 chances to look for a copy of Farron's militia, so you almost always had it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good play. And then when they took that away from him, at the same time, they changed Vulcan's ability. which wasn't great, and the teachings weren't great. And then Vulkan could actually put out a troop, and Vulkan kind of became the forerunner of the faction. And then just this last year, they changed Vulkan's ability again, as well as gave a pretty decent rework, not for the complete faction, but rather to the teachings and the sacrifice mechanic and a couple of troops. And we've got the Salamanders as they are now, especially with the new cards added from Galaxy and Flames. And Namas Raitan, for obvious frontline reasons, was doing pretty hefty last month. The month before that, I think as soon as he hit and people realized, like, wow, this is a really good thing. Why wouldn't we want to have an ability to bring back our troops and protect them with frontline, and they have Survivor? Sounds good.
Oh, just like Numion. Like, Numion kept his troops alive, and you got to use your sacrifice with them. And same thing, Nomus keeps his troops alive, and you get to use their sacrifice. It actually, when they get to do what they want to do, Salamanders are actually not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, and frankly, I felt Vulkan was better with the troop spawning than the teaching making.
Yeah, I agree.
Just constant troops is a powerful thing. I know people are still using new Vulkan, or like this latest version of Vulkan in ranked quite well, but I feel like it was easier to do it when he was making stuff.
Yeah, new Vulkan is good if you can grab Devotion ASAP. Devotion on an empty board, that's annoying.
Yeah,
that's hard to deal with.
That period when he got that ability was really interesting, because was that just before Desperate Defense was added, or just after?
You talking when he got his ability to make troops, or to get the teachings?
When it went from teachings to making troops.
I believe that was before Desperate Defense. Yeah, that was a while before Desperate Defense.
So I feel like there was a window where people were starting to warm up to him, but Numion was still viewed as the best option. And then, man, like every faction in the game, Desperate Defense just completely changed that.
Right.
And I feel like until he was the dominant Desperate Defensor.
Oh, yeah, he was one of them.
I feel like he was considered the best until maybe the last 2 or 3 months of Desperate Defense, and then people had finally gotten off of him.
And then everyone realized that Canis existed and Fail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the fail one was the bigger issue, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
Especially once they added the 4 energy tactic. Yeah, Desolated Ground.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, too, because Salamanders, I feel like, were in a similar spot to Thousand Suns originally, where your best Salamander deck was maybe 1 or 2 Salamander troops, and then otherwise a ton of neutrals. And then I feel like without Desperate Defense, Salamanders would have been in a good spot anyways when they added Emperor's Wrath. As I don't know if you three know, but like I had a pretty good High Terror run once Emperor's Wrath was added, playing that in Salamanders decks.
I ran into a couple of EW Vulcans, and yeah, they're solid. It was a good card for them, because a lot of their early game drops are oppressive. They come down with Drop Pod.
Yeah, and they've got Survivor, and you're like, wow, so I've got Drop Pod, I've got my health, and I've got Survivor, and I've got a decent sacrifice ability. Or
that was before Sacrifice was even remade.
Yeah.
That was old Sacrifice where I had to attack, and it still was really effective.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, just the new Sacrifice change is amazing. Love it.
It makes Death Guard and Korvax fights much easier.
Yeah.
It makes them sad.
It makes them very sad, because that was like their one thing they had against the Sun. Like, wait a minute, now I'm actually helping him by poisoning his stuff? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll still affect people that are looking for longevity with their troops.
It's not just, now I want them to poison everything. Because more often than not, you want that sacrifice at least twice?
Yeah. Yeah, right now I think Salamanders have shifted tactics-wise in HHL from longevity being how you win games to, kill your dudes. They're totally disposable. Blow them up as many times as you can.
That's right. I will be happy to resurrect them as many times as I can. That's exactly what they're all about. With Mount Deathfire, I don't think we cannot not mention that card. And we will when we get to the
I said it at least once.
Power. Yeah.
Yeah, that card just,
Oh no, you're saying when they gave me that one to spoil, I was over the moon.
Yeah, like that just shines head and shoulders above everything else. I like a couple of things that they got in the faction, but that one was like, wow, like this is awesome.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, I'm happy that my green boys, well, I say my green boys, I played them for a bit, but not as much as these two nerds. But the Green Boys, I'm happy they got some loving. They deserve it.
Yeah.
But you know, I wasn't happy to see Thomas.
No one should be. Frontline Warlords are a problem. Like, I like them, but they are a problem, I feel like.
Yeah, because the game's kind of built around a lot of reaction, and as good as it is, where it's like, oh, I can play a Warlord where it's harder for them to react to what I place, it doesn't exactly mean it's healthy for the game with the way the game is set up.
See, I disagree with that. And I know that might be a hot take, but I think the entire forcing the game into this reaction play was a gradual decline or mistake of design.
Oh yeah,
in the same way that like Tishio and Abandoned Supplies and all those cards, those energy reduction cards, giving flank to every faction, giving neutral flanks, giving things that like just did widespread damage, board-wide damage, targeted damage. All those things allow for that reaction playstyle to move faster and pass over the board build options and options that do a little bit more targeted abilities, things like that. So, which was, basically Season 1, Season 2 of the game. And when you can just respond to 2 cards by playing 1 card, that creates a problem. And every faction has a way to respond with a flank or a way to respond with a cheap hard removal or a shuffle in. That is a design choice.
Every faction?
Just about.
Yeah.
Some of them are more complicated, but just about.
Yeah.
But the fact that they can, and that's the go-to method, as opposed to, well, I'm going to play this troop because this troop can 2 energy can deal 4 damage to something, and I don't have to worry about frontline, or I don't have to worry about stealth because it's a random target, or whatever the case may be, and I've got something on the board if I need. Like, that shift over 3 years is where we're at now, where frontline feels oppressive. Well, before, frontline was like not oppressive, and it was pseudo effective, but it was also the only way to keep your stuff alive against those options. And now, because you can, because you've built your deck to basically play a style that was kind of the original concept of the board game, and you can do that well. And counter to the games that have focused on speed and reactive play, that makes it oppressive. I don't think so. I think what it really is there's people who just realize, like, wow, the style I've been using and my mindset has gravitated to for the last 2 or 3 years, this counters it. And a counter isn't oppressive. A counter is a counter, but it also comes from a state where, like, I think just the game and people's mindset being set in that mode where, like, of course, why wouldn't I pick a flanker that can, that's a 5/3? Why wouldn't I?
I mean, that's fair. I guess another way to look at it could be...
The problem that happened out of that, though, sorry, Dorn, is when you did finally make your deck to counter that frontline stuff, especially Namus, your deck then got countered by every other deck at that moment. So to move yourself towards countering it was a bad game of rock, paper, scissors, which is how frontline warlords tend to show out.
I guess. I mean, I'm thinking about this, listening to all this, and I don't mind rock, paper, scissors gameplay because it rewards building well-rounded decks to a degree.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, a frontline warlord doesn't do shit against aggro. That's like, well, I wanted to hit you anyways. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's the same type of mentality that, or not just mentality, but design that kind of requires decks like the Canva Diaz turret spam to be built the way that they are to withstand the aggro and the flank and everything that the game is full of. And that's why, I mean, I that's a whole different topic. I mean, turret spam decks are not my favorite either. They do something a little bit more differently than a frontline deck, but they have to be built and designed that way, because otherwise, if I just put out 1 turret every turn and you can play 1 card and get rid of 3 of my turrets, I'm never going to get on equal footing. So it's just that mentality. It's like you have to give one to the other. If they just didn't allow that, if they had Raitan gain +1 attack and not have the front line, it would kind of, I mean, it would, his on-release ability, which we should kind of remind people, sucked.
It was awful.
It was
terrible.
A joke. 2 energy to draw a card at low initiative, and if it's a teaching, gain front line, was terrible. The fact that they actually made him still playable with teachings was very nice. The +1 attack, yeah, okay, I can lose that. But the front line being an awesome way for you to basically trigger or decide this is the turn I want frontline because I'm going to play X teaching. I think that's a smart play.
The +1 attack, I was happy to see it gone, because you mentioned just as a frontline warlord, just aggro its face. Problem is, if you did, Namus was hurting you for a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That attack added up. So in his original case, it was, I can't hit him, and I can't hit his troops. So I'm going to pray. Oh god,
Yeah.
I'm going to pray.
And I'll say, I think he also could have functioned as play teaching, get 3 attack, no frontline, because then he's able to answer things as opposed to absorb things.
I would be okay with that, yeah.
He could be he would be not really an aggro warlord in the case of like Lucius or Corswain, but it could be it would be an answer early game. That could be nice.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
you
get the
played
bonus
Jubok
frontline
on curve? Okay. Teaching, hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Devotion, hit, I have board, you don't.
Yeah.
That's why he was so strong before. He could do both the front line and be an answer to Jubak on turn 2, for example.
Yeah, which,
That was too much, yeah.
I'm no expert, but I don't think that was good.
Yes, no, they nerfed that for a reason. But I'm with Scuff on this one. I think that frontline warlords are just another tool in the toolbox of things, gameplay styles you can choose. And I think Salamanders being one of the only factions with no flanking options at all, they need something like that as an answer to the flankers. I think because almost everyone does. I think Alpha Legion and Agents of Sigmar or something.
Sigmar, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Agents of the Sigillite.
Agents of the Sigillite. That's the one.
I would be lying if I said I don't think of that every time I see AOS.
That's fair.
I don't even play I've never even played it. I've never even seen it played, but I still think of it every time I see AOS. Yeah.
All the internet discourse on it.
That's why I always put TS, Agents of the Sigillite.
That's a good compromise.
It helps a little bit, not much, but a little bit.
Yeah, and to kind of go with that too, the Salamanders not only don't have a flank, but they also are very lacking in the rally ability.
Completely.
Yeah,
Well, that's why they're so good with Emperor's Wrath, because the main downside to Emperor's Wrath is you're losing out on rallies.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not completely lacking. They do have that one rallies and gives all your humans, your infantry +1 or something.
I was going to say, be careful with the word human, because there are a couple robots labeled as infantry.
I have never used that guy.
And a dog.
It just never works.
Yeah.
No one
it
has.
doesn't. No, and I was saying they tried to push the human. Maybe we're kind of going off topic a little bit. But they did try and push the human theme, and obviously, I still haven't seen that card. So,
I mean, that's not.
No, it's on topic. We're talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's very much on topic,
Yeah.
especially with the missions coming out. Like the Salamander mission, though I don't think it's that good. Though it's not the worst.
It's an alternative playstyle.
Yeah, it fits the stated mission of the missions being added to the game. So I do like it as a design idea.
I kind of wish there was a camera, because I want to stare into it right now and just mouse the words Raven Guard.
Yeah, that one could be a little bit either weaker or harder to get.
Well, my issue with it
changed entirely. It doesn't match what missions are for.
It doesn't match what the community manager and Everguild in general
all right.
those missions are for. They're supposed to be alternative playstyles, and their alternative playstyle is giving things sentence.
Huh. Funny. The other one people have a problem with is the Ultramarines one, which also doesn't match the alternative playstyle either. What Ultramarines deck wasn't like playing Astartes?
Well, I feel like I will say that one promotes playing them fast as opposed to waiting and using them reactively.
That's what I've said, because the usual Astartes build for the Ultramarines was the higher bodies, and I like playing it with Gauge and just dropping the low cost guys.
Yeah. Then I just want to add the they then gave them the 2/2 with courage, put 2 of them in play, and it's like okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best, but I do think it's
better than the Raven Guard.
Yes. Yeah. That said, I feel like Raven Guard, there's not a lot of options for alternative playstyles.
No, it really isn't.
If I had to, I mean, a little off the topic of Salamanders, but if I had to suggest an alternative playstyle for the Raven Guard, it would be anytime you return a troop to its owner's hand.
Yeah, well, they don't have much
to do that, though.
Exactly. That's about it. You can only do that a few times.
If it's alternative, you could reward them for breaking stealth on their troops. Because right now, it's just their troops are going to stay there.
Or when you use an ability, when a stealth troop uses an ability, I guess.
No, but that's still in line what they do.
Also,
Yeah,
it's not
entirely
the greatest idea, but I don't remember which guest it was you all had that said for Space Wolves they could do healing as a mission. Raven Guard do have a few healing options, and of course 6. So maybe a mission based around healing or buffing of some sort.
There's a lot to do, or you could do, but
well, there's a lot that you could do minimally, but like, could you do it reliably enough where you could say 5 or 6 times in a game to get a mission? That's where I think it's kind of hard.
Well, that's the thing. Can you reliably get the Word Bearer mission?
Yeah.
You could do a negative one, like Khan, like play so many turns without ever using stealth. Do that, so many numbers, and then get some ridiculously good mission tactic.
You make a good point, because right now all their gimmick is, I'm going to hide, which, to be fair, that's their faction.
Well,
exactly.
And Nev and 6, you could play without stealth.
Yeah, so it would highlight them. And they've got good troops that don't stealth, especially the flankers. So they still get to use some of their really strong toolbox stuff. Still get to use sentenced. I don't know.
It's a thought.
Hey guys, today's Salamanders.
You know what helps with stealth troops is being able to burn them, because flamers don't worry about that.
Flamers are indiscriminate.
And the
I
Salamanders
would have liked to see some more support for the flamer playstyle. That's really dropped out of the
Promethean
idea
Gift,
of
I thought would have been better.
Salamanders troops with the
Promethean Yeet,
like to see
as
that.
Creed likes to call it. Yes,
well, that really got completely nerfed, didn't it? That got deleted as a tactic. We lost Tikel's ability to do that, so it's disappointing.
Yeah, after
but almost any ability with what's it called? Active abilities. I don't see any active ability Salamanders troops in any decks these days. I mean,
no.
Back when I was playing,
you might see the Vulkan squad. That's about it. Like
I sometimes run deal 2 damage to a troop in adjacent act again. If today I've been facing a lot of stealths or just like defenders of Caliban, but even then, like Cassian just kind of takes the crap on defenders of Caliban, and they can't do much about it.
Well, that and the Pyroclast, just like a lot of the Salamanders troops, and this is a big problem.
Melgator!
Ambassador Melgator pretty much bounces everything that they can throw down on the board up until cost 5, and even then, several cost 5 cards.
And cost 6,
And cost 6...
But I will say, on the other hand, because they're so weak to Melgator, I found in practice when I've tried to make energy ability Salamander decks, they wasted their Melgator way earlier to either bounce the 3/3 speeder that has an ability, or hell, if I'm running a Epistolary, they'll bounce Epistolary. So usually Pyroclast is safe.
Pyroclast, I mean, typically will get out there, but if they're a faction that also has a hard removal to boot, then maybe not.
Pyroclast usually eats a outflank or something. But yeah, I was just having a quick look. It's basically Energy 6 before, because there is the Dalor Veterans on Energy 5.
And that's it. The Dreadnought, right? Or is that 6 cost?
That's 6, yeah. Everything else is, and even some of the 6s. I mean, there's the new Veterans which go well with infantry. They're 4 attack. The Pyroclast 3 attack, that's Salamanders suffer a bit. Also to Night Lords with their terror and kill everything with 2 or less attack.
That's true. Yeah, with their low attack, they are susceptible to that as well.
Yeah,
not
pretty to see.
Fucks them up.
I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Are you channeling your Eddie Vedder over here, Dorn? Can't deny it.
No, please, no. No Pearl Jam here. No.
Contrary to what Dorn wants, I disagree. Time for more Pearl Jam.
You're biased. He's Canadian, right?
I'm near certain.
I think so. I believe that is correct.
Nationality bias.
That is correct. Well, with the Southern, I mean, they've got their weekends. They've got.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Salamanders getting wrecked by Night Lords, just like, oh, picking on the boy.
Vulkan spoken. Clash today.
The entire time he's in Kurz's torture dungeon, Pearl Jam's playing in the background.
Clearly,
Sentence.
yes, exactly. Come on, let's make a song right now. Let's do it.
Is Eddie Vedder on like Fiverr or Cameo? Can we ask Eddie Vedder to say it's also a hammer?
Let's get some '90s grunge, some Pearl Jam, hammer.
Oh God!
We
gave Scuff too much power.
It's delicious. The possibilities, guys.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, we've got they've got weaknesses. I mean, but they're not. As a faction, they're not bad. I think the biggest thing for me that makes them hard to be hyped about, or a little less hypey, is the fact that they're warlords. And I know, Dorn, you're repping Cassian right now at top 50, which is very nice. But typically, their warlords are just the two. There's always like one or two, because of their design. If you buff the warlords too much, it makes their resilient troops even more
resilient.
Yeah, exactly. So Nemetor is what I'm trying to get to.
The best one.
I mean, poor Nemetor.
It seems so petty that they
so many
gave
changes.
him 2 Survivor.
Oh, the 2 Survivor is so good. We want Survivor. All right. Have 2 of it.
He doesn't deserve it. Nemetor did not survive. All the other warlords have Survivor because they survived. They survived Isfahan 5 somehow. Nemetor did not. And I was very sad when they broke that thematic element and they did not give him Survivor.
To be fair, Cassian's just a giant metal box with a little bit of human in it.
Yeah, he didn't survive either multiple times.
That's his whole shtick.
He's proven that he's bad at surviving. He's in the box. Everybody.
He's surviving in the box.
Yeah.
Thriving.
Thriving even.
But
it ain't much of a living.
Yeah, Nemetor is kind of still that unreactive ability that like tries to protect his troops, but not in the same way that Namus Raitan does.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they changed him to be something that had like a passive with their energy ability troops?
It would be nice. I would even like just a passive that benefits me for using my ability. Because right now you just pop it and the other guy goes, okay, I just won't hit you.
Well, I would have thought
that
he could have been one to further double down on the mission. Like every time, like with the mission, change his ability a little. That when you play a infantry troop, he gains +1 attack.
Well, I will say, right? If you're talking thematically, why would he be with infantry? Were there infantry involved in Isfahan?
Not on Isfahan.
There
were not.
No, there were infantry on Isfahan.
Well, not yeah. At that point, I mean, they were there, but they weren't the bulk of it.
No, it was they weren't the bulk of it, but there was an entire couple regiments deployed. There was Titan legions deployed and everything.
Or like if you played infantry, like Heal 2, like he can tank it. He's a tank, right?
Well,
that's his whole thing.
Well, it's weird to me that he's not frontline. Making him frontline warlord.
Which is also weird to think, though, that the new warlords were made with the design of working with the mission better, and it shows just looking at all of them. Did
they say that?
No, but all of them benefit from the mission or have a ability about it. Corpharon building new cultists, Gorad building new Astartes, the White Scar guy triggering Streak.
I guess even the Alpha Legion dude, because you've got those infantry that will...
Yeah.
Amit will trigger Requiem, but he won't count for the mission, though, because it's got to be troops. So
I guess Namus keeps his troops alive with the front line, which is part of the thing. It's just,
we should make Nomus a 3 attack, no frontline, and make Nemetor, as he is now, plus frontline.
Just constant.
It makes more sense, I think.
I mean, that's no different than Cork getting constant frontline.
No, I mean, no passive frontline. We're just giving
geez.
We're giving him the love he needs.
Forever frontline. I would like to see that one day, but no other ability.
He might finally be good. Yeah.
Yeah, no other ability, just frontline.
And take away your survivor too.
No, just bunker warlord.
Make it work with that. Yeah, it work with that front line.
You can hit me and throw tactics at me because I'm a tank. I can take it, but you'll never touch my troops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an interesting experiment. Remove his survivor, remove his ability, and just make him a perpetual frontline.
You know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like?
What does it sound like?
Sounds like a Crucible boss mods. Get on it.
Ooh.
Constant frontline? We'd have to give him more than just constant frontline, though.
Give him constant frontline and then, like, give him a way to, like, gain survivor X or something, but you're protecting big, fat, fatty troops.
Constant frontline and resolution give your troops +2/+2.
You know what it needs to be?
And then maybe we keep going.
You know what it needs to be? Barricade.
What are we doing? Barricade? Oh, man, I'm so happy they listened to me.
Crucible Barricade.
I'm going on a tangent here, but they finally moved Barricade to Iron Warriors after I've complained for like months, and I'm so happy. I don't know if they listened to me, but I'm happy it happened.
And Dorn, I'm still waiting to see Mercerer.
That.
Like Crucible Mercerer. Come on.
Well, Crucible bosses kind of ran into a bit of a brick wall. I think we started doing the assassin ones, and we got way too creative. And that it really confused them, I think. So they tried to do that. They vetoed most of it. We got one assassin, and then people have kind of lost interest. It took so long to get that one out, I guess.
We confused Everguild.
Which confused the players.
But I will say, to be fair to them, I don't know how motivated they're going to be to make Crucibles when we run them so little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask yesterday, hey, do they still do that Crucible thing? I was like, yeah, you just got to get on the main cord and ping them. I don't know if anybody ever pinged you guys, but I mean, like, listen, this is a scuff intervention. You guys want to intervene on me? I'm going to intervene on you guys.
Oh no, he spun it on us.
This is scuffception. You guys have been scuffcepted. The mods, Crucibles. Let's get going. Lots of people want it, but they don't have it.
It is time consuming, particularly since some of the decks people build to beat our unbeatable bosses take forever to kill sometimes. You know, and they've designed that way, of course. And so you're sitting around and they're like, "Oh, I want to have another try." Okay, so
like,
maybe you can spend
15 minutes. Thanks.
Because like so can someone have a quick? Can one of the mods have a quick Crucible boss with me? Like, sure, okay, I can jump in. And then they're like, why aren't you putting again? Give me another try.
I mean, I always establish immediately, like, all right, we'll do 3, and then like, I set a number every time.
I think that's fair because the one thing that people need to remember too is that you guys are playing Crucible, but then you're not playing anything else when you're playing Crucible. You're not playing event, you're not playing ladder, you're not playing practice, you're not playing your own dailies. So if all you were doing was Crucible and not getting credit or being able to do anything else, that can be a little draining, which, I mean, that's why there's more mods to help alleviate that responsibility.
I just need to put it out there because some people forget we are some of us at least people. We do have lives.
With great mods comes great responsibility.
We may need a schedule where we just put aside a day for Crucible, but
Crucible.
We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
Back in the day, I did actually run a few live stream Crucibles where people would actually see my hand and still watch what was going to kill them, but
still couldn't do it.
Maybe we'll get into that again. If I set that up as a special time, maybe that happens. Maybe. I'm very very busy real life recently. Things will calm down later, but maybe eventually.
It's something. It's something to put out there. But we're not talking about Crucible bosses all day today. We're talking about the Salamanders. And I mean, there have been Salamander Crucible bosses. Tekel was up there for a bit, and I believe Vulkan had one. Yeah, the Forge Master Vulkan. But with the Warlords kind of as they are currently, who would you guys say is your top pick? I'm curious. Is it Raitan or is it Vulkan?
I still got to go Vulkan.
I know what Dorn's going to say, but the other two of you guys.
Yeah. So I like going Vulkan because hitting people with a hammer is very satisfying. I don't think I have to say more.
Yeah, I'm going with Nomus. It's he's my new Nemetor. Like he's everything that Nemetor was, being able to protect his troops. Not quite on demand like Nemetor could. You got to have the cards in hand, and it does cost more than 1 energy. But he does get the job done.
He does actually protect
than Numion does. Did I say Nemetor? Numion.
Sorry. Yeah, you did say Nemetor. So I was like, he does protect them actually in comparison.
Yeah, and actually, just on Nemetor before Dorn gets to say his part. we've moved off that. So
We know.
sorry, Dorn. I was about to say the reason he doesn't work is because most troops in legions trade each other quite efficiently already, like quite one-on-one. So being able to do 2 extra damage to them, that's no one cares about that. No one cares if like you're crashing your 3-1 and that's an extra 2 extra damage from his ability, and so you're basically giving up the chance for Nemetor to face bash and paying 1 energy to do something that most of the time people just ignore.
My troop that was already dead has died. Oh no.
Well, on top of that, like
exactly.
if your opponent's like playing stuff that you want to get rid of, you're like, oh, like they play a Jubok before you have any troops down. You're like, well, I guess I won't use my ability because I want to get rid of that Jubok, and I don't have a tactic in my hand.
Yeah.
And then that leaves you now a turn behind, because then they get to play another troop next. I'm like, well, I still didn't set up and do my ability and have a thing for them to react to, and you're just behind all game.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's life.
Give him can act again.
Can act again, or well, that'd be really crazy at late game, right?
Permanent frontline.
Again, against an Angron, he's just like, all right, I've got attack 8 plus. Or you just give him where, like, you know, like when a troop is attacked, instead of making it deal 2 damage to that troop, you just deal 2 damage to the enemy warlord.
Yeah, deal 2 damage to a random or something. That could work.
Yeah, that would do it. Or even just
as well, then
random.
they'll be really scared of like do I attack and risk my Jubak taking a shot to the face or something, or you know.
Yep.
See, if we gave Nemetor the Alpha Legion mission, I think that's the world we need to live in. We just give it to him. Nothing can stop us. Think about it.
Well,
I'm a genius.
Now,
I'm a genius.
Before we hear from Dorn on his favorite Salamanders,
I like how we're completely trying to sidestep to him because we know the answer.
This podcast is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
God damn it. Capper mattress.
I think Dorn's going to have the most interesting answer too, though. So
I do.
Really?
We're building up the anticipation.
That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
We're
But before you tell us that,
home.
Dorn, I need to know. If you had Vulkan in the 40k setting again, with all these Primarchs coming back, as a Salamanders 40k player, would you be happy?
No.
All right.
The more Primarchs we get, the more things are just going to turn into my dad's cooler than your dad. And
which it already was to a degree, but
my dead dad's cooler than your dead dad.
Yeah, while we're briefly talking about the setting, and this is not a judgment thing. I think I've said this before. Like, if people like it, they like it, and that's fine. But to me, the appeal back in 3rd edition and 4th and so on was the heavy religious monastic sort of vibe of it. Like, it's a religion. They're knights. It was more fantasy than sci-fi, and so you've got these religious figures in the Primarchs, not literal people. They're not going to show up. They're not going to help. Like, the Imperium's definitely going to lose, and you're on your own. And now, like, people can point to, like, oh no, in this book, so and so did this thing. Oh yeah, that never happened because this. Like, I think I think there's also a shift in the fandom where it's people who really obsessively like details and like objective details.
Yes.
I painted my army this way because I thought that made sense with their theme and what their historical counterpart's supposed to be in the real world. And so it's like, no, actually, this official source book shows that this company of this chapter would have this on their knee pad after the campaign. Of like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about making your dudes.
Yes.
I mean, hell, the chapters were created as examples for you to make your own, not copy the designer's chapters.
I was just saying, some people just, their creativity goes, well, this already exists, so I'm just going to do this.
I know.
Yeah, look, I think to go along with it, it's not just the religious theme. I think it was the mythological feel of it. Like,
well, yeah,
these mighty godlike heroes, like these demigods. Long in the past, they fought a mighty war, and it shook the heavens. And now we're past that. We're in the ruins of that time. And
now they're objective, and we know their heights. We know we
know their heights. We know their stats. We know who could, how many bolter shells they can take or whatever. Yeah, it ruins it a little bit, I feel.
But I mean, that was the way they were shifting anyways, with, say, special characters becoming a standard or a requirement, whereas before, they were special characters, and you used them in narrative games only, and only with the permission of everyone playing.
And when you have these people who actually appear and they have stats, and not just that, but they're filling in, they're doing deeds, they're filling in the lore as well. One of the things I really liked about old 40k, like back when I first got in, was the idea that everything's canon, but people lie, and it's all unreliable canon. It's like, it's true, it's all canon, but everything we've written is canon, but it's being told by an unreliable narrator, possibly, or
Yes.
but now the more you're putting these people back into it, they're actually filling in their actions are now. You can't say, "Oh no, it's unreliable narrator." You're like, no, he literally we saw him do this. It's it's a thing that's happening. It doesn't make sense if it's unreliable. Yeah, so it's kind of, as you said, like, now you can definitely say, no, these guys had these knee pads in this campaign, and
Yeah. There's all collected histories, like in the real world, where you've got all these conflicting narratives.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was really good. You could say, that's why you could make your Ultramarines with green helmets or something, because you wanted to. You made up your own little lore for it or something. Now it's getting pushed out a little bit, I think, in favor of big boss battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just wants to grab something pre-existing.
But that's what people want, so I can't fault them for doing it.
We all say this as fans of pre-existing things.
It's
I
what
just love
they
more
want.
chaos.
Yeah, I mean, again, the majority seem to like it, so I don't blame them for doing it. It's just not what I'm interested in.
I myself, I kind of like having like lore accurate stuff as well, but I kind of also like the idea that I don't have to as well.
It's lore accurate in a world where lore always changes randomly.
Well,
exactly.
It was always lore accurate, because, I mean, there were thousands upon thousands of chapters, they're regularly made, we don't even know when and how, and, like, what the processes are, and they've all got different rules.
And
so
the
they were
details
all
are
lore
lost,
accurate.
What makes me happy, and I hope GW never does this, they never give a definitive number on chapters. They just kind of go, yeah, there's a lot of them. Can you give me a number? No.
No numbers allowed.
No, it's just like, there's thousands, probably more. And that's good, because the minute they try to go, oh, there's this many chapters, and the minute they get closer and closer to naming them all, that's just boring. Don't do that. Keep doing what you're doing.
And that's why we had the two missing. That's the real reason we have two missing Primarchs, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's not because they actually have a secret history written away somewhere. It's just because they were originally secret, because like you can make up your own reason, your own theory about what happened to them.
No, there's something important here, dude. It's a simple phrase. For now. We just gotta wait till GW violates that as well.
Yeah.
Bad days.
Does it? Hold on, guys. Hold on. That reminds me. Does the Emperor have a name now?
Not really. He just has another alias he used at one point. Everyone goes, "This is his real name," and it's like, no. He just randomly told someone at one point to call him this.
I see. Okay, I heard that, and I threw up. I threw up and didn't stop throwing up for a full day.
Well, we know his name. You know the Imperial naming conventions. His name is Space.
Yeah, his name is Space.
Space is
Jimmy,
Marines, just like Land's Raider. I feel like there's another example.
No, Astartes.
Yeah, Astartes.
No, it's Astartes, which is just as bad, if not worse.
So, yeah, his name's Space. It always has been. That's why
Jimmy
Space Marines. Jimmy Space.
It's Jimmy Space. Jimmy Space made the Space Marines with the help of Astarte. It's just how it works.
Sounds better than what I heard, at least.
Yeah, well, it's back to what Dorn said earlier, where people obsess over minute details. So the one moment where someone casually says, "Oh, he had this nickname at one point," everyone hyper gravitates on that, going, "That must be his real name." No,
okay, I wasn't sure about exactly what the details were there. I'm glad. I am still glad to hear that wasn't. They gave him a name. That would be wrong to say he has an official name now.
Yeah, the more we know about the Emperor, the worse.
I agree. I think
it's like you don't give Doctor Who a name either. For example,
I feel like this might be why, as time went on, I gravitated more and more to the Alpha Legion, because I think they're the last bastion in the setting for the way it used to be written.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's
That's
just
fair.
like,
Like
no, you
where
can't know
everything is a
everything.
mystery. There's no way you'll ever know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It sounds to me that they're trying to fill that in as well, though, aren't they?
They're slowly starting to fill it in when it comes to Primarch level, but we still have so many questions compared to everything
Like
else.
what their actual motivations are still to this day. Are they loyal? Are they not?
Like, this is why I'm happy that the Eisenhorn series started up again, because I still want to know why there's an Alpha Legion with them. Spoilers. From a book series that's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will say, yes, they did the Primarch book, which I enjoyed, but they even started that with "This is a lie," which I appreciate. And it is one of those things that I always find funny, how people's like identity, and I say this with someone whose profile picture is a Space Marine, but like people wrap up their identity in their fandom over fictional Space Knights. That like when they said that he was there first, there were Dark Angels players and Sons of Horus fans complaining. It's like, does it matter? They're
Right.
fictional Space Knights. Why?
I
do
like
you
Space
care?
Monks more than Space Knights, sir. I want my chanting boys to beat me with a bow stick or whatever it's called. Yeah, it doesn't matter in the end of the day. Who cares who was found first?
And Nathan says it was a lie, and yeah.
My Space
Tell me
Dad
things about
was...
the Alpha Legion.
Oh, and so this is my dissertation on why Cassian is the best warlord.
That's what I was waiting
Thank
for you to
you.
get to. I was just waiting for you to make.
Oh no, that was it. That was it. I've concluded.
He's concluded. Cassian is the best warlord.
Is Cassian alive in the lore?
No, but his chassis is still used for another character. It's a holy
That
relic
counts.
that's passed down. Yeah. To be fair, it's a pretty
Suck
cool
on
one.
that.
That's what you do with dreadnoughts. The body is eventually just going to cease existing, but if the chassis is still around, you just stuff a new person.
Well, that used to be what they did in the lore with every piece of equipment. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Cauldron is from brother, Bob, who fought
if it-
several centuries ago.
If it makes you feel better, Dorn, they still do that in most cases, even in moments where some chapters pass down names, where it's like, no, your old name's gone. You were taking the name of the guy who died before you because he's still around in our hearts.
You say that, but like again with the fandom, with how they're so
Yeah.
they mark so and so armor, and this chapter only uses this mark for these units, and they use this mark. Like that
This
doesn't
is
work
why-
with the older like lore, where it's cobbled together stuff because resources are so scarce.
Some people hyper-focus on the example chapters they show. There's always the special ones. Like, my favorite boys are the Carcharodons, where it's like, we found this in a dumpster out back, it's ours now. This is just a left knee pad, yeah, but I put it on.
Or the relictors.
Exactly. It's just, if you find something, it's yours now. And if you steal it, it's especially yours now. Yar har fiddle dee dee.
Well, I will say, to get back on topic real quick, and just a brief answer, my favorite warlord is Cassian, as everyone knows and has joked. He's durable, he can run at least Urdrakul moderately reliably, which I think is an important card for Salamanders. The board clears really nice in the current meta and previous metas, where there's lots of weenies on the board. Don't have to worry about stealth, since the board-wide damage you can do with him is really effective. And to anyone considering him, I feel like a trap newer players will run into is they'll view Twice Dead as just a way to extend the game. Twice Dead should be viewed more for its true production and a way to make a burst after you have worn your opponent down.
Mm-hmm.
That special card changed, well, it didn't physically change him, but it gave him so much tools.
Yeah,
Yes.
healing him and then dropping the cost of the troops in your hand. If you've got several there that can just now stuff is on the board. You've lasted, you've had a hand, you've got tactics, you've endured, but now you're dropping, and especially if you resilience some troops in your hand, really doubling down.
Well, I would also say, for newer people who don't have a good collection, like say they're missing a Pistolary and stuff like that, the last time I tried for top 50 with Cassian, which was a year ago or more, it was with neutrals that had rally effects. And so, like, I would just face bash until they were low. I would pop Survivor anyways. And then that last turn, because of the cost reduction, I could drop multiple Hanuun's mortars, multiple Helios mortar carriers, and so on. And that was back with old supply lines. But still, the effect's about the same. Pack some gold stones. You can do a fat turn after you do Twice Dead, and it was a great way to finish. And again, that was with the neutral card pull and their older teachings.
And there's not much they can do. Well, there's certain things they can do, but still.
Oh yeah, precog would screw me up often.
Yeah.
There were definitely things that countered it, but
Yeah,
it was
there's
effective
counterplays,
enough.
but
Yeah, there's counterplays, but he's still doing a good job.
That
Yeah,
was
much
Cassian.
to your
Much
original.
respect playing Cassian. I think it's great you managed to bring him as far as you have with someone he's Warlord not often seen play.
Yeah.
Well, he's pretty solid, and it always blows my mind when Dorn's talking about a Cassian game. Someone goes, "You can play Cassian up there? Yeah, have you tried?"
I mean, y'all give me credit, but at the end of the day, it's playability. Number go down. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a harder time with, say, Vulkan. I feel like there's more thought into what you do with the teachings, having turns where you're not actively doing damage, and like sort of playing a waiting game, picking a turn when you'll respond, whereas I just respond every turn. So I feel like it's honestly pretty simple to play Cassian, and I'm not that good with Vulkan. So I need to try out Nomus still, to go back to your original question, Scuff, between Nomus and Vulkan, who's better? I suspect Vulkan's probably the better one, but I don't say that from experience because I'm not good with him, and have not tried Nomus. I have him, just haven't played him.
Hey, what matters is you play what you want to play.
That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
If you make what you want to play work, you're better than all the people who complain that this Warlord is bad because I haven't.
And there's a lot of those. The game's got
There's
over
so many
120 warlords, and people just like, it's just the same 5 over and over again. Well, it doesn't have to be. If it's that way, if you feel it's that way, it's because you're not picking up a warlord and trying to make it work. I played somebody last night. They pinged me. I forget the player's name. They were playing Entered Har, and they're trying to see if they can figure out a way to make him playable for ladder at like top 50. I was like, good luck. Like, congrats. Like, you don't see Har a whole lot, anyways. You can play Har. He's got Offensive War. They don't have new cards, so they're kind of in a little bit of a hurt spot. But if you want to try to play something, do it. Like, what's stopping you? Like, nobody's stopping you from playing the game how you want to play.
Well, it might not be a bad time to get
Yeah, I was going to
into
say,
Orphans.
Ravengard.
Oh, I was going to say, it might be a good time to get into people who haven't been buffed yet. Because, like, I'd say, like me with Salamanders, I was doing some high terror play with them pre-buff. So when the buff happened, it took some adjustment, but then it's like, oh, well, this is easy now. Mm-hmm. So I would say, similarly, if you learn Orphans of War now, when they get their expansion where the non-legions get new cards and stuff like that and get missions, you might be in a really awesome spot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you want to run hard right now with all the sentence stuff, you may actually do pretty good. Because there's the several pings. Not like great, but you could have some fun with that.
And the game's ever changing. I mean, like, there would be a time when he would be surprised we're talking about the fact that Orphans of War just don't have a spot in the meta.
Right.
Do you remember?
True.
Right. Remember? I mean, what's his name? The one who stole your cards. There was Branthan, Tarsa.
You're right, Kareen, Tarsa.
Even Har was pretty good.
Har had a one-turn kill build, but I wouldn't say he was ever great.
Har got me out of Ish.
I know Terse would fall on his sword if he heard that, but
Har got me out of Ishvan 5, so he's got a special place in my heart.
Well,
he didn't get me past Callus's first.
Does he have a special place in your heart?
God damn it.
I will say, if I'm able to get top 50 with Cassian, I plan to move on to another warlord, and Tarsa's one of the ones I'm considering. As it's likely whatever I pick is going to be a salamander of some sort, even if it's not in the Salamanders faction.
By legal definition, he is a salamander.
That's true. You can
color his armor the wrong color.
You can make it work.
I love to remind people. So is Narek Drager.
Narek Drager is an honorary salamander, and I love that.
Even gets Survivor.
Yeah. He did survive.
He did survive. His body and soul and spirit were broken, but he survived.
He survived while the man with the lion face tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about how that's one of the dumbest looking cards in this game because I can't tell that's a lion?
Yeah, it looks like a happy face. We're talking about Score from the Alpha Legion.
Yeah,
I know.
It's supposed to be a lion face, but the first time and still every time I see it, I just see the "Don't worry, be happy" face.
Yeah, I mean, it has a weird, like, primate or almost, like, pig-like kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, ugly war masks is totally a thing in history. Mm-hmm. But, like, why call it a lion, then?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a lion that intimidates him, and it's like, that's not a lion.
Well, it's like, I mean, it looks more like a Chinese dragon, which look very lion-esque, but not quite.
And even his actual model doesn't even look like that much of a lion. I'd like to. It would be cool if they gave him like a main. I know it'd be stupid, but at the same time, that's what 40K
Well, it's already a
needs to be.
stupid helmet, so
Yeah, that's what
it.
40K. That's what 40K needs, though. Stupid over the top, because that's what it's supposed to be. Stop trying to ground it in realism.
It was always supposed to be like all the oversized weapons. Like I remember that was the big thing that caught my eye was like
chain swords.
These guys have got big swords and guns that look unwieldy. Like no, that's just the design style. I'm like, okay, I can go with that.
Back banners, flags.
Every time
back banners, we need to bring back banners.
Every time someone tries to quote the lore for why why chainswords are good, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, no, it's a big chainsaw. There needs to be no lore. It's rule of cool.
I like the idea of back banners and it's be like, oh, I can't see anything behind that hill. Is the enemy over there? I see a waving banner. It's like just stuck to like Steve's back. He's like, hey, what's going on, guys? I got here just in time for the ordnance fire to like drop on everybody. Damn it, Steve.
I love back banners.
I think a lot of 40K is summed up by that famous meme of drive closer, I want to hit them with my sword, of the little commissar sticking his head out the bane blade and waving his hand around.
I love how they still put that in like games and stuff. I think it's one of the Battlefleet Galactics.
Yeah, it's meme worthy. It's deserving of it.
One of the ship games straight up has your commissar and one of the Navy ships go drive closer. I need to hit them with my sword.
The Salamanders have got the brother get the flamer, the heavy flamer.
That's a classic.
That's a classic. You cannot deny it.
Dorn, are you denying the classicness?
No, I'm more just thinking about the fandom and its inability to handle like that it's rule of cool, because there's people that deny it. They're like, oh no, that'd be so cool in real life. Like, no, you've never seen a chainsaw hit anything that's not like wood or flesh.
It skips so bad in a world where everyone goes, oh, my armor's so good I could stop a tank. Like that moment where a Terminator gets hit by a tank and the tank breaks.
On the note of armor, I saw a nerd slap fight on Reddit like a few days ago where it was like, no, that armor wouldn't work. So-and-so wouldn't be able to like get their weapon up. And everyone's like, no, they're Astartes, they're super strong. It's like, I'm not talking about being able to lift it. I'm talking about the pauldron is in the way of where their arm would move. They would decapitate themselves if they raised their arms, because the two pauldrons would meet in the center.
You never see Space Marines do jumping jacks. That's all we're saying.
No. And then there's a thing where fans go, but here's the 8 pages in this book dedicated to explaining how the pauldron floats slightly. And it's like, that didn't need to happen. Just say it's a stupid armor for the sake of cool.
Yep. Well, it's like Saturnine Terminator armor. I love it.
Man,
it's beautiful.
That's classic, yes.
Stupid as hell, but I love it.
Yep.
It's goofy, but goofy in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talking about stupid, let's talk about the other Salamanders cards. The ones that don't get played, because there are. Let's be real. Even following the adjustments and the balance changes for the Salamanders, there's just some cards that just don't ever see play.
You know what? I'll pull my game up. I can look along with you.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I think we got to take a look at some of these cards where, like, just despite all the best efforts, Everguild has not managed to make these worthwhile.
Well, I'll say there's ones that were always good, and people just ignored, like Orbital Warfare and Sorrow. Those were solid cards, and people would complain about the lack of card cycling in the faction.
I think original Orbital Warfare was not great. I still wanted to do like damage. Part of me wants to do to like 1 damage across the board or something, just because it's an epic and I feel like it should.
I like it how it is.
It's good. Like, I'm not going to deny that, but Old One was not. Old One was like. It was like the first tactic they play cost 2 more or something like that. It was not the whole hand, and it cost 3.
Yeah,
I forgot that. Okay, never mind. Yeah. I forgot all about that.
It was not good originally.
Okay, Sorrow, I will say, was.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the cards that's not great.
You originally didn't even draw a card, I don't think. So I think you were spending a card and paying 3 energy to tax them 3 energy or something like that.
To potentially just delay a turn if you knew something like Pride of the Emperor or Vengeful Spirit was coming. That was it. It was like, that's not good enough. Yeah. Like, that's not effective enough.
No.
Nocturne Burns or Born still never played.
Yeah, I like Cortan Hunters is debatable. I
mean, it's a token.
I've never made Eigen Gargo work effectively.
Corton, I would say, is also like, you already have so many good openers, you don't need this non-survivor opener.
I do like the new Donnock squad. The sacrifice put in play another Donnock. Like I've made him work. He's pretty nice.
He's a good early game.
The Dragon Scale Shield. I don't know. Like, I mean, I've used it. I've used Artificer Armor before they changed it to help me get a challenge, but I still wouldn't use Artificer Armor just for what it does on its own. I mean, it's a common.
It's neat.
So expensive.
It is really expensive. It is really
especially when you compare it to other factions near equivalents. And you go,
well, and they also changed the faction, so now, like, you're not the old strategy.
I want my troops to die.
Well,
if anything, it should just give more attack, but keep the HP the same, so my sacrifice can still happen.
Yeah, pre-buff, a buff to troops would be nice, but not for 5 energy. But post-buff, I want them to blow up. I don't want them to have more health.
The last thing I want is that my 3/3, whose name I can't remember, but I play him every time.
Epistolary Roston.
Yeah, there we go. Last thing I want him to do is to not die when he hits something. Because if he does die, boom. If he doesn't, no boom. Sad boom.
I will say, I don't see Barrack Zytos a lot. I like it. It's not their best card by any means, but it's a really solid one.
He used to be really good early on.
I loved him with Numion.
And against Angron. Like, that was just a great match. That was just like, all right, this guy's going to stun you and do some damage.
Yeah. Which is good.
And if you've got Numion, he potentially keeps on stunning you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
had some fun.
And then you got the high-cost tanks that, like, are kind of just like, okay,
very nope.
Sure. Classic high-cost cards that don't do anything in a faction that doesn't have any rally thing. Like, your best high-cost card, if we're talking 7-up, is Fire Drakes, right? I mean, Tikel's cool, but I'm going to take Fire Drakes just for that battle honor and the.
I would also put in Ancient Zavor, is it?
Yeah, a lot of people do like to use Zavor as a finisher, which I can see.
Yeah, Zavor with
if you have Zavor, a few Epistolaries, and some Roshan squads, if you manage to deploy that in the last turn and kill off Zavor, the whole board explodes in them.
That's by the time if you can trigger that, you've already won.
Yes,
this is just a hard flex.
It is win more, but sometimes it's win more that has its place, and that's when, the opponent maybe is a bit more pushing over the edge, and suddenly you put a giant dreadnought that is really hard to kill, and when they does die, will just explode the entire board several times over.
Well, it's not necessarily win more, only just that the meta is faster than waiting till your 8 energy turn and then waiting till your 9 energy turn to blow up. Because I definitely know Zavor is a finisher for some people running Vulkan, which those games, if you do it right, will be getting to that energy range. So I wouldn't consider it a win more card.
Yeah. Zavor was... Well, I mean, I said win more in the case of having an entire board of tokens with the idea of Zavor blowing them up. That doesn't happen.
No, it does. Hope discounts them. You can have zero-cost Roshan sitting in your hand, or if you Mount Deathfire them, they come back to your hand discounted.
Most of Zavor plays, Zavor has dropped since the change to, is it Resilience? Where you used to be able to pick 3 out of your deck? No. Is it? Which card am I thinking of? You can pick 1 of 3 out of your deck and draw it for discard.
Not for Salamanders. Resilience is out of the discard pile.
Wasn't there one that you could draw a card?
Hope is just draw a troop and reduce it, but it's
not a pick. Draw a troop. No, it used to be. That's what I'm talking about.
Really?
No.
It used to be.
It used to cost 2. They raised the cost to 3.
Did they?
Yeah.
I could have sworn there was one that let him pick 1 of 3.
Nope.
Am I crazy?
Nah. Resilience stuff.
I know you're thinking Olympia.
Choose.
No. I'm thinking something else. I need to check because I remember seeing constant Zavors at 6 energy, and it was hurting me back in the.
Quickly on just as the phrase "win more," I've heard people call Urdracool that as well, and I would argue it absolutely
hilarious.
Yeah,
you're playing Urdracool because you are desperate and you need that troop gone, especially if it's something with ward. Like
you need all the troops gone.
Yeah, Urdracool is a last-ditch effort to win, not a win more. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be wasting 7 energy otherwise and taking damage to your face.
I find calling a hard removal win more hilarious. Is hilarious. It's a hard removal.
Not only just that, but like permanent hard removal. Just pay life for hard removal.
Right. The best trade you could hope for is your opponent's putting down troops and drop pods.
Yes.
Oh,
Love it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Blood Angels versus Salamanders is a dream come true.
If you get
Assuming,
with Urgical, yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you don't, then, it's not exactly a fun time, but sometimes you gotta hope. Sometimes you gotta pray.
That's also assuming they don't get to host before you, because then you can't play Urgical. You need to be doing board damage to clear their host of angels.
Yeah, but luckily you play Cassian, so your removal is a lot of AoE.
It's more reliable. I mean, I still lose to Blood Angels, but it's more reliable, definitely.
It happens.
Still got to burn through those drop pods before you get to the juicy bits inside.
When it comes to reliable, let's talk about, like, what would you guys say are your top 3 Salamanders cards?
Well, I mean, I guess
Pistolary for days.
Dacklier.
Dacklier? I love
Dacklier.
Dacklier. He's a good boy. He does his best.
Roshan squad.
Well, so
that thing can be 10 damage by himself.
Roshan is dope for sure.
I guess, if it's like the best cards and not so much troops, I mean, I'd say Mount Deathfire is one of the best 3 cards. Because whatever troops you're picking, Mount Deathfire just multiplies their value so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, go. Okay, let's list it. Okay, Deathfire's got to be on the list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's guaranteed to be on the list.
Scorched Earth, because at the end of the day, if you're setting up sacrifices or fighting tokens or stealth, Scorched Earth is very important.
But then that's a situational. Are we going as purely best or just like situational?
Well,
I don't view that as situational. I say it's their best.
Yeah.
I'd say it's their absolutely like 2 across the board, and setting up regardless what sacrifice troops you've picked, it's setting them up to blow up, or it's triggering their blowing up.
Both being good.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to Orbital Combat. The ability to say, oh, you're going to play Host of Angels or Muster next turn, or Harrowing? I'm going to draw a card. Have fun. And suddenly they can't. Or, I just put down Fire Drakes, and you're going to play a hard removal? Good luck with that. Or spend your whole turn on Outflank.
Yeah.
I'd say with those 3 cards, a lot is viable, but those 3 cards are extremely important. Orbital, Scorched Earth, and Mount Deathfire.
By the way, I knew I wasn't crazy. Hope was originally choose a troop from your deck and draw it. It costs 2 less. You actually chose one of 3. It was 3 cost, but you chose one of 3. I wasn't crazy, because I remember seeing a deck built around Zavor drawing. They changed it very quickly afterwards.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, I do remember that, actually. That brief moment where they, Okay,
because I thought I was going crazy, because that's normal for me, to go crazy.
You are going crazy, but it was just unrelated to this.
Yes, I've lost it, but that's fine. All right.
Yeah, see, when I think best Salamanders cards, like Mount Deathfire, that's a bit of a...
It's got to be at the top.
The deck together at some point. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere there. But the rest of them thinking, I mean, I know I kind of agree with the Orbital Combat, but the troops themselves, I mean, I agree. Orbital Combat really, I think it's an auto include. If you need to put in your Salamanders deck, and for the all reason you said, you can avoid the outflanks or the
big swing cards.
The big swing card, like the Host of Angels, or the other cards. Yes, the ones that you know they're coming, and you know you've got to avoid them for now. Yeah, that's what.
To be fair,
I'm going with Chaplain Xavier as another strong card that
strong, but you can play without him. I feel like.
Yeah, I guess.
And don't complain about how they removed his art for some reason. I know it wasn't pretty art, but that's Xavier. That's his art.
I know.
I'm angry. Now he's just some random dude.
Yeah. But whatever, it is what it is. I'll take it for him no longer being a rally, because he was the one dud when I would play Emperor's Wrath.
Yeah, his resolution also affecting Warlord's really nice. Like, I can't complain on that regard. But the sacrifice, you don't want to trigger it. I don't want him to die.
Yeah, that is a change from before, where you were disappointed because you didn't get to attack with him. He was basically just a way to draw.
Sit there and
sit there and absorb.
With the new Disciple of Flames, he combos well with that one.
Yes.
I like the Disciple.
They help each other out.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a good addition.
Yeah. Salamanders got some good stuff from GIF. They got some real good stuff. I'm just envious of any faction that got even one usable card from
expansion. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm salty about the word bearers. No, I will
don't
not
blame you.
apologize.
Don't.
Make
I'm
no
sad.
apologies. Make no apologies.
Chaos isn't known to. Yeah, no, if I gotta go top 3, Deathfire's gotta be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Then a Pistolary. Then kind of want to give it to Dak because I really like Big Nuke Dreadnought. I mean, Dreadnoughts are great. He blows shit up. I think that's enough. I mean, that's all you really need to do is sell me. But there's so many, there's a lot of good cards I enjoy. So, yeah, I'll have to give it to their best ones, in my opinion, are the Pistolary, Deathfire, and then, Dak.
See, I'm gonna say
Pyroclast. Can I put? It's not. I know it's not the best card. I haven't used it in Salamander's deck for a very long time, but Pyroclast is my absolute favorite card in the entire game.
Really? I don't blame you.
If you can stick if you're against someone who's got a nice board set up, and you can stick a Pyroclasts, and you can stealth them or something, you can just watch watch them panic through the game somehow as they realize what's about to happen to them next turn, and then you pull it off and just burn the entire board to death.
Yep.
I've had good games.
I cackle every time.
I've had good games where they played Barge while I have a Pyroclast
nice.
on board.
It's a little puzzle, isn't it? It's a little puzzle. You're going, I can hit here and here and here, and that'll all burn down.
It's very similar to. I was going to say it's very similar to Viral Bomb math, where you're like, okay, if I hit that, then that gets to that, and then it's fun.
I would say for me, it's Deathfire for sure. Right now, even if they were to, I mean, they'd have to significantly nerf the card for me not to like it. It's very good, very thematic. Epistolary and Benevolence. Benevolence is just bread and butter in every deck. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, it's a good heal card.
It's a great card.
I used to not run it.
Triggering the sacrifice, that kind of, healing 4. It used to heal 3, now it heals 4, and you can trigger sacrifice. You can do a lot of stuff with just a well-timed Benevolence. So those are my 3. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could name a couple of the troops that I really like playing, but when it comes to cards that I have in every Salamander's deck right now, and probably for the end of time, it's going to be those 3.
That's fair. They should give Reckoning Vulkan a sacrifice, just so I have
I would like to see a Warlord with a sacrifice. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deathfire really pushed out Resilience. Resilience was finally made into a good card, and Deathfire came along and just immediately nullified it.
Get off the hill, old man. No, Deathfire's here now.
It finally became good, and then they
kicked
immediately
it in the shins.
I mean,
they brought along as better.
I do like the fact that you can play both, but playing one takes away from playing the other. It takes cards out of the pool. I like that, because that could get really abusive.
Interesting that Deathfire teaches us a bit about how the game works. We know we have a graveyard somewhere. We just don't get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if it's always that consistent, though, because I've had a game where I mount Deathfired and was able to get another Chaplain Xavier while I had a Chaplain Xavier. Otherwise, it has been consistent where something of mine has died, or it hasn't died, and I brought it back. Sorry, I'm phrasing this badly. It died, I brought it back. I have another card in my hand, but that Mount Deathfire says only, one available or something like that, because they've been returned from the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what happened in one game where it was not registering that my Chaplain Xavier had come back from the graveyard and was actively on the board, and allowed me to Deathfire him again. And I had competing Xaviers.
I think Resilience does that to you.
I don't run Resilience, though, is the thing.
Did you get it from Xavier?
What, Resilience?
Yeah.
No, not that I recall. And I could imagine spending 5 energy other than... Well, I guess that's hypocritical. I play Mount Deathfire, that's 5 energy. But, yeah, I don't know. I never used Resilience.
I don't think there's really a reason to now.
I know. I've had the same experience with Dracnyan, whatever. The demon thing that
the Sarlacc pit.
The Sarlacc pit, yeah, that's the one. I was running that for a little while to try and get extra sacrifice triggers when he killed stuff, but for a while. And when he kills himself, he doesn't return to play like he says in the card. He goes to your graveyard, and you can pull him back out with Mount Deathfire.
Really?
Mm.
But he's back on the board. So he's not really returning to play. He's making a copy of himself. I don't think it's working as it should.
Interesting.
And I'm just wondering if that. I think I've seen it work that way with resilience too, where it's not returning it to play. It's making a copy.
Yeah.
Well, resilience does. Resilience makes a copy of it. It doesn't return it back to play.
There we go. So that might have been somehow been it.
Because if I remember correctly, if you Deathfire, you can't resilience. There's nothing to resilience because you've taken.
Yeah.
Whereas if you
I know the reason
resilience,
you don't run
can
them
Deathfire.
is they counter each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. One pulls them out and the other just copies them. But if they're not there in the first place, you can't copy them.
Yeah.
So running them both at the same time is stepping on your own feet, which is annoying. But at the same time, I don't really want to fight 4 chaplains just healing, surviving each other.
Ooh,
So I'm not exactly
so good. That's a
But do you
good
want
game right
that?
there. Why not?
But
It's like the gathering of the chaplains. You know, they're like, listen,
we're here to discuss religion.
that's it.
Stand back.
Did you hear about the book at IKEA? Whoa, what'd you get? Turns out they sanctioned the whole thing. Yeah, read up on this.
God damn it. Pain.
That's it. It's the reading circle. It's the Oprah Book Club, but in space. It's the Vulkan Book Club. He's got his teachings. He's like, okay, so we're here to discuss resilience today. Tell me what you guys have. You guys read this? What do you guys think about it?
You get a Land Raider.
Yes. Everybody gets Land Raiders. It's just a bunch of salamanders like, oh, Vulcan lives, stomp, 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 stomp.
And then just jumping in the pit of lava. Which, by the way, still the highlight of HHL of Numion fighting a fucking volcano in the campaign.
That was pretty cool. I like that. I thought that was very nice.
Dorn is of a different persuasion, and I don't blame him. It was goofy, but I loved it.
Sometimes we need that. We need some goofy stuff.
Dorn, he fought a mountain.
Yes,
amazing.
I know.
It was metaphorical. You're metaphorically fighting the mountain.
That's right. You're making that climb every day, Dorn. Every day. You want to say you're climbing ladder. No, you're climbing a mountain. You got to look at it better.
Exactly.
All right. Well, in terms of if you could have one card, what do you think that needs to be changed, improved upon? What would it be? We've talked about some that just don't work, but I mean,
Salamanders?
Yeah, for salamanders. Whether it's warlord or card or whatever, like what would it be?
I mean, Nemetor.
I'm gonna agree with you.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I do want to see that change. But I kind of, if as that's the answer everyone else is giving, I'd like to see some of the big tanks, like the high end stuff, actually become useful. You know, like some of the high end stuff on other factions is not often used because of the game just tends to not be that slow, right? But almost all of them, like I mean, if Subjugated Titan hits the board, or even I've seen people using Phoenix Guard and stuff like this. Some of the late end stuff in
you saw Phoenix Guard?
Emperor's Children. I have seen Phoenix Guard.
That blows my mind. I want to play it, but I can't.
Or what's the Iron Hands tank? Like they've got that big 10 energy tank.
Latrathis.
Close.
That's the one, and that gets played because that's a
Yeah, but I mean, it immediately removes stuff. So of course,
it immediately removes stuff. It removes something every turn. The Death Guard tank, they've got a big 10 energy tank, which front line, you're not getting past
that also
when you do.
Sure, but I'd say they're both in a position where their factions can get to 10 energy. Emperor's Children, I don't know how reliably they're going to get to 10 energy.
Usually when you do play their Subjugator, you're playing it for cheaper or you're not playing it at all.
Right, and I get that, and I guess it's more for memes or even an event or something like this. But I would like to see Salamanders have a big top end. Like they do tend to be the grindy faction, like maybe not so much these days.
Plus, with Dawnbringer and Urdrakul, your big top end can be your warlord.
I suppose, but for like top end for like Numion or someone, someone
with the way Dak and Saber
as an alternative play style, Alternative, like maybe at the end you put down like a giant thing which has really good effect, and you actually want it to hit the table and won't just immediately get removed.
Well, so on the note of alternative playstyle, if you had said Nemetor's off the table because we already discussed him, then I was going to say they're infantry buffing cards, like Egan Cargo, maybe an additional health, or Kagosi,
Yeah, sure.
maybe Survivor, something.
I was just thinking for like a singular card, but yeah, like I'd really love. I do want to see that become like right now. There is basically, I think, more or less a proper way to play Salamanders, and they play well. But I think all the cards we're using would probably, with only a few exceptions, use the same cards. I think, and the similar playstyle. I think I would like to see like that mission actually become viable, and I'm pretty sure they're going to rejigger missions around a bit.
Yeah, I don't think we're done with that.
They've got to with some of them. They've got to. There's no way Raven Guard can be.
Give us Word Bearers a goddamn mission.
Yeah,
We had nothing.
I think. How about the Emperor's Children as well? I mean, I never played them, but
Okay, they got nothing too. But at least some of their gift cards are playable. We got no gift cards. None.
But they have to take damage, and what happens when they get it? They get
die.
marks of chaos for receiving damage.
Yeah, so they just
Something
die.
like this. So, yeah.
That's the feeling. That is the collective feeling for that mission. Exactly.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I look at the Salamanders one, and like, yeah, it's hard to get, and the reward is average-ish, but then I look at some of those other ones, and like, I can't feel too bad about it, can I?
I mean, Salamanders is better than Iron Hands, I would say, but I would say almost like Iron Hands, if you went through all the trouble to do it and not die, by the time you get it, are you not already winning?
Are you winning, son?
Thanks.
Right, yeah. I think they should fill a little bit more of a niche than just, as you say, already winning stuff, which and not too easy to get and too powerful.
Yeah,
I think if you're playing missions, you should be able to get them in more than 50% of your games because you've built your deck around it. And when you do, you haven't won the game yet, but you've taken the next step and you've probably moved ahead of your opponent, right? I think that's probably the ideal.
I think that's the idea. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I think unfortunately right now the missions are either you get them and you win the game now, or you and they're pretty easy to get with some of the factions, or they are just not even worth trying for. You know, you wouldn't. You wasted a card slot. You wasted the deck building that it took to get there, and then.
And sometimes the rewards hurt you. Word bearers. Hey guys, I'm happy about the Word Bearer expansion. How can you tell?
You're very vocal about it. It's
my happiness. I'm just so great.
Yeah,
so happy.
I don't think they're done with the missions or the balancing. I think we're going to get probably in the next couple of months over time, whether it is some adjustments to those that are too effective. I think they're primarily focused right now on trying to make the ones that nobody's playing effective, and even still, they haven't hit that mark yet. I will say I've done Cardosia with the Iron Hands a lot more effectively, and it's working pretty good for what I've been playing with it. That's great. But that's just one deck, and it's not all the Iron Hands Warlords, and certainly isn't all the other missions. And it still has its weak spots. So it'll take time. I think that one's going to take time, especially as we're getting more Warlords added for some of these factions that they haven't touched just yet. I don't know what we'll get. I think with the Salamanders, though, I think their mission could be done. The problem is...
people are doing it.
Yeah. The problem is the cards that you would think would support it in the deck don't. They don't really do. There's not enough. The support. There is supposedly support cards that do this with your Imperial Army or draw an army in Astartes, but that's not much, and it's very little to help bolster your actual target. Like get it there. Like if you change how it triggers, or you had a little extra to make sure you could get those things happening earlier. That probably would be the best help that thing could get. I don't know.
I think even it could benefit from part of the problem with some of the missions are they are purely uninteractive, like the Raven Guard one. That's a big problem with it. Is that I can't stop you sentencing my troops and dealing the sentence damage. At some point in the game, you're going to just drop that 5 damage, like the board wipe thing, the sentencing board wipe, and you're gonna knock half the points off your mission right there. Whereas for the Salamanders, I can only get it in 6 turns at the best, and my opponent can choose whether or not I get there, basically. They get to decide whether or not they can interact with that. They know my mission. They can try and stop it. Well, and that's not necessarily a problem. Yeah, I was basically done. I think it's just it's not a problem that your opponent can interact with it. I think that's kind of what is kind of important to the mission design. But I think it's kind of bad when there are missions that you can't interact with at all, and those ones tend to be the problem ones, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it if it was hard to get, and there's again, to use the Salamander one as an example. So you did all this work for it, but it doesn't swing the game towards you. In fact, you might not have a board in having lasted long enough to do it. Or same with, again, Iron Hands.
Right.
Like, you might have been attacking with your vehicles to get this ability. So I don't mind if they're going to be swingy, like the Raven Guard one is, where you're going to win if you have it. You just got to last a little longer, but you got it. Just if it was a different way to get to it.
Yeah, because really, you can't do anything to stop the Raven Guard from getting it besides just winning. Mm-hmm. There's no counterplay to don't get sentence applied to yourself. Okay, my board doesn't all have ward or stealth, and they also have AoE sentence now, so
you can't play them and then complain about the prevalence of aggro, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh god. It's people complaining, it's funny.
It's well, if you don't like aggro, you don't play stuff that only allows aggro to beat it. That pushes the meta towards aggro.
God, oh man, I think we're talking about a certain gemstone, aren't we?
Not really.
They had a very similar argument, which is why I'm saying this too. Oh, I can't believe this because aggro. Or no, it was. I can't believe this because Camba Diaz exists. How am I supposed to stop him with all my sentence? Everyone's like, "You have a counter now. How do you feel?"
Huh? See, I mostly forget that certain individuals named after rocks exist actually at this point in my life, and it's not bad.
Listen, we're all moderators. We have to put up with these people more than we want to.
Well, speaking of things that exist in your life,
uh-oh.
What else are you doing when you aren't playing Legions?
Secretly emailing Everguild support to not add any more deck slots every day.
I'm emailing them to actually remove deck slots.
Single
too
deck
much
slot
option.
Hey, if you're dedicating all your time to limiting the deck slots, then that means that I've shut you down in your personal life. I have succeeded.
He's got a good point.
Yeah.
Scuff wins in the end, no matter what we do.
That's right. You'll never beat me.
unless we just make it so only his account has.
I'll take everybody's deck slots. I'll be the deck slot.
Every deck slot is replaced by just a random page from a Ben Counter novel.
Oh man, that's hurtful. That's hurtful right there. That's hate crimes.
That's bad, but I think if we just replace every deck slot with an entire CS Godo book, I think that'd hurt more.
Poor CS.
How would you feel? Why do you mean poor? He deserves what he gets.
No, I mean poor that we have to read him and put up with this shit. Oh.
I thought you were defending him for a second.
Why would I? Come on, get out of here.
Yeah, that's why I was concerned.
Get out of here.
Get hold of one of these Goto books and find out what's going on here.
Oh,
didn't he write a Dawn of War novel?
CS Goto? Yeah. Yes, he did.
Should I read that?
I think he actually was responsible for all 3 of the Dawn of War novels.
Yeah.
Oh, he did do all 3. No wonder they were so garbage. I only remembered one of them.
Yeah. Which is a shame that, if that was your introduction, a lot of people apparently we talked to were introduced to 40K because of Dawn of War, the game. I could just feel how bad it was. They're like, oh, I like this game, and they go to read the book, and they're like, well, I'm done reading the books about it. I'll still play the game, I guess. But how about you, Duke? What do you do when you're not playing Legions?
Well, as I said, a bit busy right now. Just back from China, and moved in with my parents while I'm waiting for setting up the rest of my existence here. But in the meantime, they're doing some renovations, so I'm helping that a lot. And but if in a bit more casual stuff, I've been getting into Magic the Gathering arena. So I've been getting that a bit competitively. Haven't had success yet, but keep on qualifying for stuff. One day is the dream.
One day soon,
Sure.
hopefully.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, what about you, Axel? What you up to?
Same old. I don't do much. I'm still working on my fucking D&D and Only War campaigns. Those are always fun. Not Only War, but the new Wrath and Glory. So it's still Imperial Guard thing. So that's nice. And I'm introducing a bunch of players to the setting through the only way I know possible: an orc wall with a low survival rate.
Okay.
I'm a good person. That's what I'm trying to say.
Clearly.
That you got to learn the hard way. 40k is not nice. So the best way to do it is with giant green men who will chop you into pieces.
What you do is you spend 3 weeks, and every week you have make a new character.
Oh no, I've already been told make a character and 4 backups. Just name and don't ask why.
Not by choice. Exactly. Just be like, okay, so pull out your new character. Like, all right, we're gonna get on the ship, the drop ship. Okay, so
new character.
Like, what? What happened? Like, well, didn't work out.
Someone didn't worship the machine spirit of that drop pod enough, so it just kind of exploded on the way down.
So you're on another ship that did. Like, just what? I was really attached to that guy. I'm like, don't get attached. This is how this works.
Well, I know they don't listen to this, or some of them do, but the ones who do won't remember this. The next planet they visit will be a gene stealer cult, and after that will be a full-on chaos incursion. My plans are to see how long it takes till I break them, and then we'll play a little bit nicer version of Raffen. I got to teach him the setting. That's just what has to happen.
Sometimes you got to be tested.
They're my longtime players. They know I'm going to do this. They can't stop me though, because they're masochists.
They keep coming back for more. They're like, please. Hit me, sir. Can I have another?
Why'd you gotta do this stuff? Why you gotta make it weird?
I'm not trying to make it weird. I'm just saying that's what you do in your off time.
You're my foil, and it hurts.
Well, do you guys have anything to plug? Let's talk about plugs. Dorn, we plug you typically every week. Axel
I was gonna say,
is on the plug situation, but now you can plug
I
yourself.
I statistically plug you every time.
I mean, I guess I could still let him do it for tradition. I'll instead say tournaments. It's crazy to me how many people complain about not a lot of variety in gameplay and the inability to get certain targeted cards or grow their collection. And there are these free-to-enter tournaments that often have rule sets specifically designed to even the playing field. So, I don't know, it's weird to me how many people don't know they exist and don't participate in them if they do know they exist. So tournaments.
Yeah, get into tournaments. That's how I got my collection. Back when I first started the game, I discovered that one of the Discord discovered they ran tournaments, and that's what got me really involved competitively with Legions. And you do. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you win a card that you like. Sometimes you win a Primarch. I
got Vulkan that way. It's via tournament, not a draw, and I think I entered largely because I saw an average turnout was somewhere between like 8 to 14 players. I'm like, well, I may not be very good, but I could reasonably get lucky 3 times and end up towards the top of the bracket.
Hey, it's a good way to do it.
I believe that's still the average.
And as you say, a lot of them...
Yeah, that's still the case. It's crazy to me. Like, again, there's these free cards and free gold. Just show up and sign up to a thing. But yeah,
and,
usually between 8 and 16.
A lot of the rule sets are designed to like, hey, you can't use all your legendaries or something. So every time you read reviews of these games, they're always like, oh, it's just all free to not free to play. It's all pay to win. The best. You just get beaten down by players with all legendary decks. Like, not even close.
Bizarre
hey, in a tournament, right?
It's crazy to me how often I'll still read pay to win in a game where the paid content is cosmetics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's.
Anyways, that's my plug. Tournaments.
Right.
That's right. Tournaments are good.
How about you, Duke? Anything to plug?
Nothing particular. I mean, I've got the YouTube channel, but I don't really do anything with it these days except for make memes. I've put up a little video recently showing the trials of trying to get one of those legendary cards out of packs.
Your intro to the night reveal is still my favorite of the reveals.
I wish I had more time to do more like that. Yeah.
I think all your reveals are amazing.
I have good fun. I have good fun with that.
Every reveal is a treat.
Well, the last set I just didn't have a chance. I didn't have enough time on the computer in between getting the cards and revealing to do much more than just talk about the cards.
Yeah, that's fair.
I miss it though. Like that's part of the point of revealing is like I get a captive audience where I can just show off ridiculous memes to. So
the key part there is captive.
yeah, right. Because they're all sitting around waiting for it to start, and then
they get scuff. What was
and
that?
they have to watch me
body or something. I forget.
I think it might have been Ray. Yeah,
All I know is Nightmare Fuel, but that's not important.
It was good. I love that one. That was one of my favorites. And
all I remember is at one point during the reveal, cat photos appeared and it just said filler images because we ran out of intro.
Yeah, I had to get the reveal out eventually. You know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have another 1,000 Suns situation on my hands.
Oh no!
That
was blamed. Well, that can be blamed on the Chinese ninjas, which is a callback to original episode.
Yeah. That was just I couldn't log into YouTube's banned over there, so you have to VPN to get through, and sometimes you just can't. And so that particular day, Chinese ninjas were attacking my VPN.
Yeah, it just happens. It's a sad fact of life.
Yeah, and I have actually revealed 1,000 Suns now.
That's true.
Yeah,
I believe that popped up in the later reveal.
They made it through the warp. The reveals finally did arrive.
They did.
You should reveal all the cards that have been like changed radically since the reveals. And like, here they are.
Yeah,
they're here.
Check out Magnus.
Yeah.
Doesn't he look balanced?
Look at his shield. He gets shield.
Shield every turn.
Oh man.
Well, Axel,
every turn.
Do you have anything to plug?
What am I plugging? I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna plug my boy Dorn. Drew my beautiful crabs. Both the current profile picture I use and the old pirate hat one. That's Drew Lee Clark on Instagram. He does commissions and he does art. I don't think I gotta say more. It's good art. I'm a crab bearer. It's horrifying. Creed approached me the other day. And said, "Actually, your profile picture scares me." And I went, "Good."
All right.
Yeah, I've made it scarier.
Yeah. You got the crab eye stalks. I think really make it pop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the little mandibles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's adorable.
I've made a scarier version of your avatar.
You did once. It was Nightmare Fuel.
I'm not aware of this.
Oh, you've seen it.
It was our last podcast we did. Yeah, you mentioned something about being mistaken for Axel Jones. Yeah, mistaken for Alex Jones. So I updated his profile picture for him.
I need to find it because it's Nightmare Fuel. If I just type in the word Alex in my images, that should appear. Nope.
Well, now we're talking about visual things in a.
Listen, we've done this every episode. It just happens eventually.
Sooner or later, people will experience the medium in all senses. We'll be talking about tastes. I'm like, oh man, this is so good. This is delicious. And then there'll be no context. What are we eating? Doesn't matter. Just imagine it.
Doesn't.
I mean, you don't want me to describe the flavors of things, because I will. And it'll make you salivate.
I don't think I want that.
No, people don't. I say stop. Before you protest, let me describe. And then I get into it. I'm like, this is very creamy. And it's got a little bit of salt, but the sweetness, it's like cheese.
I want to go home.
Rich upon your tongue. Just enough texture. Just enough
Please,
texture.
I need an adult.
I can keep going, but I'm not going to. Because I'm going to plug deck slots. That's what's going to happen. You guys try to stop me. You try to stop me at the onset of it, but it's not going to happen. You can't stop me. You can't stop deck slots from happening. They're going to happen. We need them. We need them bad. We are at capacity. As a Philadelphia pool guard might say, we are at capacity. And yes. And we need to not be at capacity. So let's get some more deck slots for these new warlords that are hot coming in hot. One of the two. It's both the same. So that's what I'm plugging. Also, March.
Not Soul Drinkers or the Bleeding Chalice.
No.
Crimson Tears. Chapter War.
None of that.
Hellforged. Phalanx.
We are about to have the March month upon us. This episode will be coming out, I think, the 2nd or 3rd of March. So there'll be a new deck list contest. So the deck list contest for March, that is talking about free gold. We're talking about the tournaments giving away free gold. The deck list contest is another way for players to get free gold as well. And all you have to do is submit a deck list that matches the theme of the month. Your player profile, send that to me. It doesn't have to be a playable, winnable deck. It doesn't have to be ladder worthy. It just has to match the theme and have cards in there that kind of, tie a story together, make it thematic. Doesn't have to make a story, just make it thematic to the theme, and then the top 3 win. First place will win 1,000 gold. Second place wins 500 gold. Third place wins 300 gold. The theme for March is going to be duelists. Now, I make it clear, as I try to make it clear every time I announce these themes, I usually set the themes like 3 or 4 months in advance. Somehow I knew that Lucius was going to get a buff before this theme would debut, and sure enough. So the theme is duelists. There's a lot of warlords who are duelists that are in the game. Make a deck that kind of supports that theme. Tie it all together, send it to me, and then by the 25th of March is when the deadline is. And then I'll make a video for the winners and get that gold out to you guys. Also, for March, going into other events, March 19th, we've got Bar Night Legions taking place. That is going to take place on the 7 o'clock hour U.S. Central Time. March 19th is a Saturday. And that tournament, casual tournament play, action, drinking and voxing, that theme for that tournament is Dirty 30, because that is our 30th Barroom Brawl. We've been doing this for 30 months, or 30 some odd. I mean, there's been some months of breaks, but we've had 30 of these things. And the format for this is all warlords must be 30 health hit point warlords. Warlords with Survivor cannot be included. So Tarsa and Draeger are out. Medusan is out. And then to go with that, every card in your deck has got to be divisible by 3. It's got to be 3, 6, or 9, or 0 energy. We recently decided that Drilling Site will not be allowed. So Drilling Site's the only exception to the 0 card rule. Otherwise, your deck has to be 3, 6, 9, or 0. It's the Dirty 30. And then we play for the battle of the title for the Miodmeister, the most glorious title in all of Horus Heresy Legions. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about the Steam stream. I'm planning to do the Steam stream on the... the Bar Night Legions is the 26th. The Steam stream I've got planned for the 19th. That's what it is. So the 19th of March Steam stream, Bar Night Legions is the 26th. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a pretty busy week that week in March. But if you want to participate, if you want to get gold, if you want to play, you want to have fun, you want to just mess around, there's a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of ways to get gold. And I hope that folks listening this far into the podcast consider it, because that's the best. That's the best way to meet players and have fun, and that's really what the game's all about. All right. So, with all that being said...
As far as duelists go, there's a 40k story called Crossed Swords. If you would like to read that to inspire yourself to make a duelist deck, it's a great story by Ben Counter.
Ben Counter!
I mean, similarly, if we're talking duelists, he also has one called Death Watch, One Bullet.
Don't read that. Don't read that. Don't do it.
I enjoy a lot of the Death Watch stories, but that's me. I don't know.
Yeah, they're good. But then you gotta remember Ben Counter exists, and then you get sad.
Some of you do.
No.
He ruined my boy.
I can't deny that he exists. I just don't have to... I don't have to support his lifestyle.
I mean, I can deny CSGO's existence.
Oh, boy.
What does he have against the elves?
I don't know.
It's creepy.
Hey, better than, again, we were joking about him earlier, the guy that wrote that, Inquisitor Dracos, who had like a weird sexual fetish with Tyranids.
For not even Tyranids, for gene stealers. He has a key emphasis on the reproductive organs of gene stealers. This is part of the bits that got rewrote slightly. Also, Steven Spielberg was thinking about turning that into a movie. Hey guys at home,
listen, I wouldn't mind seeing a Steven Spielberg Gene Stealer movie. That could be interesting.
Neither would I.
As long as he doesn't replace the bolters with walkie-talkies.
God damn it.
Ah.
You know, we got Henry Cavill saying if a GW movie ever comes out, he will star as any role in it. He doesn't care.
I'll take it.
So yeah, we've guaranteed him, at least. Now we just need more. Now we just, you know what? Grab like one of the cool Inquisitor characters and make something after them. Like, what was the guy who blew up a bunch of planets to piss off the Tyranids?
You know, I will say real quick, I forget that guy's name, but I will say I guess during all the like Henry Cavill stuff, I'm just not into celebrities. But as long as we're talking about that, he would make a good Caiaphas Cain, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, he'd make a good Caiaphas Cain based on the covers, but those are supposed to be propaganda. That's not what he looks like. I would still like him to be it.
I mean, he could still be a big dude if he had to go through the skull.
Oh yeah, no, Caiaphas Cain's like stupidly tall.
Progenium?
Yeah. Caiaphas Cain is stupidly tall and buff, but yeah, he's also a meek bastard.
Yeah,
he could play a good Gaunt. I like Gaunt.
Sure, but I don't see why Cavill couldn't play a goofy coward who's constantly trying to get out of work just because he's.
You make a good point.
Big.
That's the beauty of being an actor. You can play anything. It's a matter of them casting you for that. That's the question.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of action movie type guys that would have a lot of fun playing Cain. I feel like that'd be a nice change of pace for a lot of them.
I want Cain. Cain could be fun because Cain has a bunch of stuff.
December.
And every single one of his books like calls back a moment that we still haven't gotten to in any of his series. Like he fought a dreadnought, like a chaos dreadnought in one. Well, I say that in quotation marks. He kind of survived long enough for water to break it.
It's just going to be Fast and the Furious 40K.
Yeah,
and
essentially.
Then it's like Too Fast 40K.
His
starring
bodyguard. It's about family.
Starring Jason Statham as Cypress Cain.
Well,
I heard you, Dorn.
With the naming convention of that movie series, eventually they will get to Too Fast 240, and then then they can be Too Fast 240K.
That's why not?
All,
it's
all
like
white scars.
All white scars, exactly.
Or maybe some Raven Wing.
Maybe.
On the speeders.
Just one entire book that takes place 100% on bikes. They just never get off them.
That's it. They're just like they're having their downtime conversations on the road on bikes, like to each other.
Yeah.
Like, those emotional scenes where they kind of have like a special close moment. They're just on the road, like there's like 3 other bikers behind it. They're like, "We can hear you over these engines. We gonna stop to get off the bikes and eat at any time? No, just 2 hours of us on bikes."
Exactly. That's why you got the Voxlink helmet.
That's it.
You never need to speak to each other if you just yell inside your helmet.
All right. Well, it's getting late for Duke. Oh, Duke, what you got?
No, hold on. I think I found that novel. While you guys were talking about novels and bad writers, I think I found the one. You guys are talking about Draco as a character. Is that?
Yeah.
I think that's a series I'm talking about too.
Yes, I think it is too. I think it's the second one called Harlequin, right?
I was just reading Harlequin.
Oh, it's such a bad series.
Ah, good. I'm glad it wasn't just me not understanding, 40K fully at the time or something. Because I was so confused and going, that sounds silly, and the whole way through. But like loving the rest of the lore you're reading in White Dwarves and stuff, and he's being really disappointed by this book.
If it makes you feel better, GW thought those books turned out so bad. That's why Black Library even exists as a form of quality control.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which makes me happy, because if not, we would have more, I want to bang the Gene Stealer.
I mean, to be fair, they were written, I think,
a different edition? Inquisitor was written in 1990? Is that second?
That might be second. I
looks
don't think third had happened yet.
No.
So, I mean, to be fair, there wasn't much established lore to pull from or rules. It's really just
it's
stuff that I'm bothered by. Otherwise,
it's first edition. Yeah, my main problem is the creepy fetish stuff, because squats and stuff running around. I'm not one of those haters of it's being squatted, so it's gone forever. No, they existed. We have to talk about them because they did try to erase squats from those books.
They still exist. They still show up in other books.
They now do. They now do.
Yeah.
There was a gap there though where they were just gone, and I'm happy they're coming back.
So it's only a matter of time before we get the Rainbow Warriors mentioned again.
Exactly. But yeah, Ian Watson's creepy sex book. That's first edition.
Is that a late?
There's 3 of them. No, I'm not plugging this book.
Like he was plugging Melindy.
You were oddly specific 1990.
I don't want her to leave the Gene Stealer form.
Inquisitor by Ian Watson, 1990. Harlequin, 1994. Yeah.
It's crazy that my introduction to that series was actually the short story that was just about Melindy. And like that actually I thought was all right. Like this, you can't come back from this transformation and like this debate on, do we do this on like transforming into a humanoid thing? Like that in itself was a decent short story from what I remember. And then the novels.
And then the novels.
When you add the flesh to that interesting tidbit of a concept, I guess.
He wants to bang the Gene Stealers. All right, guys, this has been another podcast.
It's probably a good ending point.
I think so.
Banging Gene Stealers.
I think so. Let's end it on that.
It happens, and Imperial citizens don't bang the Xenos.
But what does Talons do?
Let me tell you about those rending claws.
God damn it.
All right, that's it, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
It ends here.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
I can't help but appreciate your talents.
It was inspiring.
I need some wood.